Do you have trouble asking for what you need? You'll find out how in this episode of the Stress Less Show. Hi, I'm Carly Myers, a stress management expert. One thing I hear day in and day out is that we feel like we've tried everything when it comes to stress management. We may have tried the mainstream approaches to managing our stress, but have we really gotten to the root? Each episode, I bring on experts and leaders to not just put a band aid on your stress, but to actually get to that root I was talking about. This month, we're focusing on something that I think has gotten more popular over time, but still needs a little bit of addressing, and that's mental health. Specifically, today, I brought on an expert to talk about how to ask for what we need. A lot of our problems seem to stem from this inability to ask. So, welcome to the show, Majette, Maria.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, Maria Reyes, MS, is a pre licensed professional counselor with a Master of Science degree in community and trauma counseling from Jefferson University. So you know what she's talking about. She owns Resilient Mindworks in Northern Liberties, Philadelphia, where she processes your past so you can live in the present and plan a fulfilling future. She is an international volunteer, having done medical missions in the Philippines twice, helped rebuild in Puerto Rico in 2018, and working with women and children in Nepal, Ghana, Peru, and soon India. She is also an adjunct professor at Jefferson University and teaches yoga to kids. Oh my goodness. I like this is so much. I'm so excited to have you on the show. So can you tell us more about your experience and how you got here?
Yes, of course. So for me, before I became a trauma counselor, I was a paramedic first. And as a paramedic, I've endured some post-traumatic stress disorder, and I was also physically assaulted by my coworkers. But it didn't stop me from doing what I love, which was emergency medical services. So I continued working as a paramedic, and for 10 years, it took me 10 years and a semester in grad school before I decided to work on myself and seek counseling. Through those 10 years, I was very angry, impatient, irritable, just confused about this feeling of resentment. And I was very reactive to things and people. And I also felt very depressed and anxious about everything in life. And I didn't know what to do. And I didn't know who to ask for help, but I was just internalizing all these feelings and issues that I'm having until I went to grad school for community and trauma counseling. And I realized that, holy moly, I need to process this traumas that I have endured. And that's when I decided that I need to speak to a therapist and process all the adversities that I've gone through, even in childhood up to my adult life, and as a new mom and a partner. So, yeah, that's how I ended up loving counseling. I needed it first.
Oh, I love that. It's so funny. You're reminding me of an experience I had a few years ago. I was reading a book, and as I was reading through it, I was flipping through it. I couldn't put it down, but I was like, at the same time, I was like, I feel personally attacked. Um, this resonates a little too much. I got to work on my stuff. And it's so similar where we both were like, okay, we had to do it for ourselves so that we could move forward and be able to help other people. I think that's really great. So let's talk about asking for what we need and asking for what we want. Like before we hopped on the show, we talked a little bit about how this seems to be a common theme for a lot of your clients.
Yeah. So the thing is with most of us, especially for helpers, so I work with a lot of first responders coming from a first responders field, and a lot of women and also entrepreneurs and medical professionals. So we're helpers. We're always taking care of others, always doing for others. But then for us, we are not asking for what we need. And we feel like neglecting ourselves is a badge of honor. And then we resent people because they're not giving us what we need from them. But then again, we're not asking. So we have to know how to ask, but first we have to know what we need and then know how to ask. And then the hardest part is letting go of the outcome.
Mm,
So
yeah.
yeah.
So what do you recommend? I mean, how do we find that clarity? How do we know what we want? I mean, this is something I know I personally for a long time is like, I don't even want to know. I don't want to know. Doesn't mean I don't want to deal with it.
Yeah, no, I think the best part for us to start from is to be clear on what we want. So, number one, be clear. How do we become clear? We have to live our lives with intentions, right? But we can't if we're not clear. So, we need to know what we want. If we don't pause and take a moment to breathe and reflect, we don't get clear on what we want. So, the first thing we need to do is to be able to pause, have a moment with yourself and reflect on what you need. And with practicing our breath work and also meditation, that's another great way of being clear. And journaling is a great way of also finding out what we truly need from others and, in the world. And another, so do you want me to continue on and go to the next step?
Yeah, I mean, I think we would love that. But it sounds like the first step is really about developing a relationship with yourself so you know what you want.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
okay,
but then again, being alone and just pausing for yourself and taking
yeah.
that moment with yourself.
Okay, so let's say we've paused and taken that moment and we've developed that relationship with ourselves. We know what we want. What's next?
So the next step is for us to ask for what we need. So
Mm,
how do we do that? And the first thing that we want to do is to be able to get a notification, notify the person that we want to talk to and let them know that I would love to talk to you and not attack them. Because when we attack them, walls are up. They don't want to talk to you. And then if we just tell them what we need, at the wrong timing, then they're just like, they're coming, they're getting defensive. They don't want to hear about it, and it doesn't become productive. You don't get what you need.
mm,
So we have to know when's the right timing to ask for what we need, and then notifying that individual, I would love to talk to you. And then when we get to talk to them and we ask them for what we need, we have to remember to let go of the outcome. And
mm.
that's the hardest part. And I'll explain a little bit more on the last part. How do you let go of that outcome?
Yeah. How do we now I want to know, how do we let go of that outcome?
Okay. Well, so when we ask, so we're clear, and then we ask. We ask for the time, the right timing, and then we notify that person that we want to talk to them, and then we ask them for what we need. Now, when we ask for what we need, we have to remember the positive sandwich.
Mm,
So the positive sandwich is starting with a positive statement and then putting the problems right in the middle. You tell them the problem or what your request is, and then you end it on a positive note. So when we talk to someone, we let them know that we need to talk to them. We have to make sure that we start on a positive note. For example, we're talking to our partners and we need something from them. I really enjoy this time that we're having right now. I'm glad that we're able to have dinner. This is great. And then you put in, I really need you to help me with this project that I'm doing. Maybe you'll be able to do this for me. And then you end it on a positive. So you put in the problem, right, or the request, and then you end it on a positive note with you're really awesome, I really appreciate your time, I really appreciate what you're bringing into the support that you're giving me. Like, you end on a positive note. So
mm,
when you talk to them, they're not on defense mode, so they're hearing what you are trying to say and what you want, and then you're ending on a positive vibe, so you're not leaving the conversation with them feeling some type of way. They're more excited to help you.
mm. And
So
you're more excited, it seems like you're even like you have to take a minute to be gracious for
right,
everything that they've brought to you to begin with. I think
yeah.
that's huge. So if we're in the Philadelphia area and we feel like we want some more support, maybe we're having trouble for asking for what we want, what do you offer?
Yeah, so I actually have a support group, burnout support group for first responders and medical professionals every Tuesday night at We Work Northern Liberties. So they can go to my website, resilientmindworks.com, to get more information about it. And I also do individual sessions for clients.
Perfect. Perfect. So resilientmindworks.com to get in touch with Maria. And this concludes this episode of the Stress Less Show. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We'll see you next week on the Stress Less Show. Take care.